right, ladies and gentlemen, DGens and DGenettes, I'm the Machinist. Welcome to another episode of WenMint, and today is really, really, really fucking cool. Excuse my language, but we're talking with Raul, the CTO at FluidTokens, and we're going to talk about permissionless lending on Bitcoin, the first permissionless lending platform on Bitcoin. But before we get into it, we're live on X, we're live on YouTube. So it doesn't cost anything to watch this, right? So retweet it, hit a like button, subscribe, follow, whatever you're supposed to do, and get this out there because this platform is definitely worth learning about. And because I have to do it, there's a disclaimer. So WenMint is for educational purposes only. Nothing said or alluded to within this program represents the views, opinions, and or ideology of WenMint, its hosts, that's me, its guests, that's Raul, affiliates, partners, and or related social media platforms. In other words, believe nothing that we say. Absolutely nothing. Just consider us terrible liars. But with that said, you're going to like what we have to talk about. All right. Anyway, so Raul, what's up, man? Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
Thanks.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thanks. No, thanks to you for this opportunity. It's really nice, and we appreciate the fact that we have this a way to interact with the community and to explain and educate about our project.
Absolutely. And it really is important to get things out there as any developer, right? I think we have that weird spot where there's people that develop amazing things, but they do it in the dark, right? And no one knows about it. And then there's people out there that are screaming and yelling that they're going to develop the most amazing things in the world, but they never build anything. So it's you got right. So you got to be somewhere in the middle. So this is great. So everyone can learn about it. And what better than a walkthrough? I mean, let me ask you quick if I can, and don't mind the screen share for a second, because I'm going to go retweet this on X, and everyone's going to have to watch me doing that. But if you could, just a little bit about you, right? Who are you? Where are you from? What got you into crypto? And eventually, FluidTokens, not only on Cardano, but on Bitcoin now as well.
Sure. So first of all, I am Raul. I am based in Italy, in Milan, and me and Matt, that is our co-founder of FluidTokens, is also based in Italy. And how did everything start? So I was introduced to the blockchain first, Bitcoin, then Ethereum in the first year. So I was still a student in university. And then I really didn't get the coding and developer side. I was still a newbie in this sense. However, I started to join some startup events, and that's where I met Matt, FluidTokens co-founder. And while I was starting to learn about blockchain, he introduced me to Cardano. And that's exactly when I started to check on it. At that time, there were not yet smart contracts on Cardano, so it was
Gotcha.
really early period. But we started to build, check NFTs, how it was possible to code them and mint them in a nice way. At when we reached the Bluetooth release on mainnet, we started to think about how could we leverage on the technology that Cardano was offering at that moment. And then we started to think, okay, right now, most of the liquidity is locked in NFTs because every community user on Cardano started to ape into collections. And now that finally we are starting to have DeFi, where is the liquidity coming from? And this is why a lending protocol was the solution for that problem in that moment. And I think it's almost 2 years from that idea, and so many things have happened, and the latest one has been this. So we were able to release a completely decentralized lending protocol on Bitcoin. So we, as Fluid Tokens, have no control over the funds, over the collateral, Everything is on the hands of the lender and the borrower.
And I cannot wait to dig into it because of how this works and how you guys figured it out. I was in that first space where you explained this to people, and they were kind of dumbfounded. Nobody knew what to say, and they just kind of got stuck. And that's the best thing about the best ideas are the simplest to explain. And people always think, they're like, why didn't I think of that? Right.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's the feeling that everybody got in there because it is so clean cut and easily explainable. You do a great job of explaining it as well. And don't forget, people, there is another Fluid Tokens live interview on the WenMint YouTube. If you want to go check it out, that's the Cardano side of things, right? This is still the same company, correct? So it's not
yes.
like things are being split up. There's not a second Fluid token on Bitcoin, right? There's FLDT is the ticker over here on Cardano, but go check that out. You'll probably, well, not probably, you're gonna like what you find. And if you're watching us live, feel free to comment right on YouTube or in the X broadcast if you have any questions at any point for Raul, and we'll be sure to ask him. We can see him and pop him right up on the screen. All right. So I got to say, you said it was 2 years from the idea, right, to the lending protocol on Cardano. And kudos to you guys, right? Because from that liquidity bootstrapping event to a fully functioning, moving, like everything was good to go platform within a couple months. I was a part of that LBS, and it was just amazing how quickly you guys pumped everything out. So obviously there was a lot of work ahead of time, but
Yeah.
Bitcoin, this came at it no, like, did you already have this thought out or you just came up with it and just put it out there? Because it felt like instantly, as soon as Runes was
Mhm.
announced, you guys were ready.
So it happened like this. We actually started to brainstorm about Bitcoin in January.
Okay.
Why? Because Bitcoin has so many similarities with Cardano blockchain. The UTXO model, input output, the way you can predict the transactions that you can have, like the determinism of Bitcoin is the same that you have in Cardano. The
Right.
chaining of the transaction is the same. So we started to brainstorm in January, and we were not able to find a solution to the lending part because there are two parties that want to interact, and no one wants to trust the other one. They want to be able to verify and start the loan without having to trust. And we didn't want to be the third party that had to be the middleman. We didn't want to be the one deciding who was right. We just wanted to be a platform that helped them to interact and to start this loan. And after studying a lot how some things, how transactions were chained in Cardano, we were able to achieve the same thing on Bitcoin, leading to a lending protocol.
Excellent. And this is something you said in that space too, right? How
Yeah.
familiar this was because of the problems everyone dealt with here on Cardano, right? Learning about smart contracts and everything else. So, I mean, in your opinion, is this something that a lot of Cardano devs? Because personally, I do think some of the smartest people in Web3 are developers on Cardano. There's just some amazing platforms, and I've met amazing people. Uh, do you think this is something where they could succeed as well, kind of making that leap over to Bitcoin and taking the knowledge that they've gained over the past few years over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have been already in touch with some teams that are looking into the Bitcoin ecosystem because what they have built on Cardano that has taken years to build can be easily moved into Bitcoin without all the efforts that it took because they already studied and interacted and designed the input and output of the transaction. And they can replicate this. Of course, there are some tweaks to add since you don't have smart contracts on Bitcoin, but the flow can be the same.
Excellent. Well, I think we should take a look at it, right? And everyone, don't forget, if you're not following FluidTokens on Bitcoin on X yet, you should be. There's something wrong with your life. So their handle is FluidTokens XBT on X. And if you want to check out their link tree, it's linktree/FluidTokens XBT. You can find all of this right there on their X profile. Now, this is the fun part. So this is where this link tree will take you, btc.fluidtokens.com. And so a lot of people have used lending protocols before, right? Now this is Bitcoin. Maybe how this was built on the back end is similar, but it's probably a little bit different. But is the experience of providing liquidity for a lending pool or lending, borrowing against an asset, is that any different, or are things pretty much the same?
Well, probably providing liquidity is the same. Like
Gotcha.
you are able to provide liquidity in less than 1 minute because it just requires you to pick your parameters, how much APR you would like to lend for, and so on. While instead the activation of the loan itself, that is a bit different. Why? Because it requires two signatures from the borrower and two signatures from the lender. So each of them has to interact. We have some notification system to alert the other party when the signature from the other one is done. Or we have also email notification system. So it's a bit similar to, I don't know if you remember the old times, when we have the first marketplace on Cardano,
Oh
where
god. Yeah. Yep, when you had to
that's
sign for, if you were selling something to somebody, or I forget exactly which way it went, but you could change your mind because if they hadn't signed for it yet, or if you didn't sign for it, you could just decide not to sell your NFT, right? I think it was CNF it wasn't CNFT.io.
yes,
Was it?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it works similar to that way, but at the same time, is if someone is changing their mind or if someone is thinking too long, it doesn't lock you out. You are still able to interact with other borrowers or lenders, and that's uh, that's easy doable.
Perfect. So
So this is yeah.
oh, no, go ahead.
No, this is the main difference in the experience. Like usually with smart contracts, it's instant, one click, and the loan is done. Here you have to do two signatures instead of just one.
Excellent. And what's up there? Kabash, good to see you, my friend. All right. So where should we start, you think? Because it looks like I have my wallet linked. So I'm ready to go because I was poking around on here. And I do have a runestone in my wallet, though I do not
Okay.
want to lend it to anyone. But we can
Oh,
poke through and show some people some stuff. So where do you think's the best place to start here?
well, maybe we can disconnect your wallet and try to reconnect to see the experience.
Gotcha. All right. So when you come to it, this is going to be the main page you land on, right? The only thing that really changed was that connect wallet button. So hit connect, pick your wallet. I have an X verse in here. Let's see. You can't see it because I'm just sharing the browser
Yeah,
window,
no
but a little
worries.
pop-up just came up for a password. Let's see. So
Yes,
then click
and
connect. There we go. We are connected.
exactly. And
That
as you can see, we allow like every Bitcoin wallet that is available, we are able to integrate it. So we are trying to onboard everyone in the ordinal community.
excellent. I
Uh,
did notice that's something different, right? From when it launched right in the beginning. There was only a couple wallets, correct?
yes, exactly. And it was not that easy because every wallet has like kind of a different standard. So you have to adapt to the different address condition that they have. But in the end, we were able to manage it, and now everyone is able to create a pool, check the pools, and borrow from them.
Excellent. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on this some so everyone can see the type a little bit bigger. There we go.
Yes.
All right. So on this front screen here, right? So on the left here, we're seeing different pools. So we have like Puppy Maxi Biz, right? Rune Stones, Bitcoin Frogs, Bitcoin Punks, Bitcoin Puppets. The total liquidity. So I'm guessing this is the current liquidity in the pool, right?
Yeah,
The lend APR. So this is what people can make for lending or for providing that liquidity overall.
exactly. Exactly. So that's the best APR for the lender side. And let's say that you would like to provide the liquidity. You can use that APR, or you can even use a lower APR if you want to have a competition against the best one. In that moment, you become the best pool available at that moment.
Gotcha. Excellent. All right. So this is where we'd come. Let's say I'm looking at Runestone. So I'll click on Runestone and there it pops up and says borrow. So if
Yes.
I click on this, choose loan asset, it's going to search my wallet. It
Oh,
sees
okay.
that there's a
Yes.
Runestone in here, right?
Continue.
Continue.
Yes.
Then I would pick the duration. So uh, now this isn't something that's automatically approved, is it? Or someone has to look at this from the other end and say, that's a loan I want to be a part of. And then they give their funds.
So the lender will be notified, and so he will get a notification that will say something like a borrower is looking to pick liquidity from your pool. This is the collateral. These are the terms, and if you confirm, so he's going to sign a transaction, and the notification will arrive to your side.
Excellent. So let's say we did 15 days, confirm loan term. So it'll tell you your number of items. It's nice. Everything's laid out here, right? Number of items, loan amount, duration, the APR, right? How much interest you're going to be paying, the fees, everything else. Cause you can't just loan this away, right? I can't get, let's say, $5,000 worth of Bitcoin and then just pay 5,000 back. That's not how lending works, right? And that's why
Exactly.
this is beneficial for people. If you just have Bitcoin sitting around in your wallet and it's just sitting there waiting for the price to go up, which we all know it will, why not make some money safely on that liquidity that's just gathering dust in your wallet?
Exactly.
Uh, all right. And then I would click confirm and that would shoot off to a lender. Then that would say,
Yes.
yes, that's what I want.
It will make you sign a transaction that is going to just to confirm that you are actually the owner of the collateral that you are
Right.
willing to use, but then it everything will go on the lender side.
All right. So how does this, um, right? Because I have heard you explain it. So I have to think of a way to ask this where it's like I don't already understand it yet. But how does this work, this permissionless with these signatures back and forth where, if I put in a send transaction, right, and I'm sending my runestone to someone that's lending me Bitcoin, how do I know I'm going to get that back at the end of the week or 2 weeks?
Yes. So uh, first of all, the collateral, in this case, a runestone, is not going to go directly to the lender itself, because otherwise he could use it, he could sell it, he could do whatever he wants.
Right.
Instead, it's going to be locked in a address that is going to be ruled by both of you, but in a different ways. So the lender is going to be able to withdraw anything that goes there at the end of the loan period, while instead you will be able to withdraw everything that is there if you pay back the amount that is decided here to the lender. So each of you has the control over this collateral according to your decision, because if you don't pay back, lender is going to be able to claim it. But if you pay back, lender is not able to do anything and he can't stop you to do so. And what about free tokens? We also cannot stop you because everything is decided before starting. The only thing that we do is adding some fees to the transaction for us as a protocol, but that's it. We cannot stop any of the borrowers to pay back, and we can stop the lenders from claiming the asset.
This is Really cool. And now it sounds just like a regular smart contract, but you guys have a different way of going about this, right? When it comes to the UTXOs, and pretty much like me as the person giving this runestone up, right? And asking for a loan, wouldn't I have to sign a transaction up front that gives that person permission to withdraw it? Or how does that work? Because I remember you were talking about signing transactions,
Yeah,
but they don't actually go through yet. How does all that play out?
sure. So let's talk about the how a marketplace, for instance, works on Bitcoin, because this is the first layer.
Gotcha.
A marketplace on Bitcoin works like this. I'm able to list my ordinal, and actually, it doesn't leave my wallet. It's an off-chain transaction, and I just say I'm willing to provide to give this ordinal to whoever is going to pay to me this amount. So anyone willing to fulfill this transaction is able to make it work 100%. Okay.
Gotcha.
But in our case, it was a bit different because we don't have only one transaction. We have the lending transaction and the repay transaction. So they are two. Right now, then the borrower, he's not sending the collateral directly to the address regulated by both, because he must be sure that he's able to pay back the loan by his own. So how does it work?
Sorry, I have a dog that just tried to kick my door, and I don't know if you heard that. I apologize. Continue. Scared the
No
hell
worries.
out.
So the borrower is able to create a loan transaction without broadcasting, and he is going to wait until the lender accept the terms of the payback.
Gotcha.
Once the lender accepts, borrower is able to pay back whenever he wants with those terms. And so he now can broadcast the transaction, feel safe because he's able to pay back, and he's not going to lose the collateral in case he paybacks. And that's it. We are able to we allow borrowers to feel safe, giving them smart contract behavior, and at the same time they don't have to propagate the transaction, because, and this is really interesting, lender is actually signing a transaction from payback using a transaction that is the loan that has not been broadcasted yet.
Right.
So he's creating a transaction of the future that is based on things that could happen, because the loan maybe will not be propagated, but could happen. And in this way, we are chaining some events, some transaction, and giving the power to borrower and the lender to check every state of this chain.
Right. And there's no way that anybody can get their fingers in this and change these outcomes. Like these are the set steps. If A happens, B's gonna happen, right? If C happens, D will happen. This is, and that's what I was talking about before. It seems so simple when you explain it. It's like, how didn't this happen sooner? If you don't mind me asking, what was the feedback that you've gotten from the Bitcoin community, that maybe this was the first time they had heard of fluid tokens, and you're kind of the new kid on the block, and you're like, hey, by the way, we completely cracked this case, and now you have smart contracts. Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, Bitcoin community was astonished because they didn't expect it. They didn't even know that this was something possible on Bitcoin, to have a smart contract behavior without actually having smart contracts. And this is actually interesting because on Cardano, this kind of technology, that is transaction chain, is actually used in few protocols. For instance, I think that the first time I saw it, it was in JPEG.store, when
Right.
you were trying to sweep the floor, and
Yep.
let you sign more than one transaction to purchase more NFTs, right? So the concept is the same. You are signing more than one transaction because the following transaction is using the previous one in order to have, let's say, a sort of smooth path, and you are able to fulfill every event. And this is something peculiar because you don't find this in Ethereum, you don't find this in any other chain. You find it only in deterministic blockchains like Bitcoin, Cardano, and other UTXO ones.
Excellent. This really is, I don't know. It's just amazing, and it really does hammer home the fact that I do think the some of the smartest developers in Web3 are on Cardano, and they're going to take
Mhm.
over everything. I mean that in a nice way. It'll be a nice takeover. But so, what else do you think this can be used for in the future? And I do want to go through in a second how to add liquidity, right? Because that is something. If you have Bitcoin just sitting, because most people that have a good amount of Bitcoin, right? Or any Bitcoin, you want to sit on it, right? Because we all know where the OG crypto is going to go someday. And if you can get uh, an APY like that and fees from everything, from the loans and everything else on top of what you're already holding, why wouldn't you, right? Especially now that you've explained how it's done. It's completely secure.
Yeah. So first of all, our code and paper are completely open source. We have released on our Twitter page the complete documentation, so everyone is able, first of all, to check what's going in the backstage, what's the code and what's happening. So you don't really have to trust us. You can verify every single step. Like for instance, you can check where the liquidity is going, who is the one in control of that liquidity, and you are also able to check what are the steps that we are doing in the flow of the lending. And this approach is not doable only for uh, lending. This approach could be extended into other DeFi protocols, and this is why we released the paper, because we want to onboard more developers into the ecosystem. For instance, you could easily use it to create an order book DEX on Bitcoin
Oh, wow.
using our way. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like right now, and it's an amazing platform, right? But just the other day, I used what is it, Alex Lab, right? And you have to bridge to stacks, and there was all this other stuff. To be able to do that right on Bitcoin would be fantastic. And now this isn't just for ordinals, right? This isn't just for runestones and Bitcoin puppets and whatever else you guys have on here. And I'm sure there's more to come. But this is BRC20. This is the upcoming runes protocol.
Yeah.
It's pretty much anything you can have in your wallet on Bitcoin works with this method.
Exactly, exactly. We don't want to stop to ordinals. Right now, we integrated them because it was the easiest approach. We are studying BRC20, and we are also working actively on runes. Runes actually got our attention because it's really similar to what Cardano have as tokens. So you are always able to track them, and it's more user friendly as experience to send them, to purchase them, and so on. And using them as collateral is going to be really, really helpful because, okay, ordinals are a good way to unlock liquidity, but tokens have much more liquidity, and even for lenders, it is easy to liquidate their position if they get a default.
Absolutely. This really is this is going to make a lot of waves. I don't know, have you talked to or heard about what like Leonidas and all those guys think about this? Because Leo, I got to tell you, my friend, when Ord.io first came out, I was there. You'll remember where the boss cat ordinal screaming and yelling BCRC to the roof. So we're old buddies. You should come hang out and talk to Raul because I'm pretty sure you guys would have a really good conversation. I wouldn't know what the hell's going on, but that's all right. I'm just a host. Um, but yeah, have you talked to any of those guys on Spaces since? that original space?
Actually, yes, we've been able to integrate ord.io actually, so lenders can check on ord.io what is the collateral, so they
Oh,
have the full information. And we are actually scheduling some podcasts uh, in order to explore and to make some live demos of the platform in a way that everyone can check it out and see how it works and feel confident about it.
absolutely. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, our dashboard. So if I did have, if I was providing liquidity or I had something lent out or, I was borrowing funds, this would all show on this dashboard here, correct?
Exactly, exactly. And you also have settings on the right where you can set
Oh,
up.
it's asking for a signature, just so everybody knows. There's signatures at every step here. This is pretty secure, which is a good thing. All right, so here we go.
So if you would like to have some email notifications in order to know when a borrower is looking for using a liquidity from you, or if a lender has approved the loan, then you can activate it. And we require a signature, so you we are sure that actually you are the one owning this wallet, and so we can link your wallet with your email.
Excellent. And then push notifications too here, huh? Oh, email not verified. So I'll have to check my email and verify everything.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
This is great. So once all right, so it saved it. I'd have to verify it, which is fine. But with providing liquidity, how would I do that? Do I just click on a pool and go through that route?
No, actually, you have to click on Create Pool on the right. If
Got
you check there, yeah.
okay. And
Then
then oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you can just pick for the collection you like most.
Oh, and there's a whole bunch of collections in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that you had Rune Guardians in here. That's great.
Yeah, we usually pick the collection that have most volume. So in this way, they have more liquidity also for the lenders and also for the borrowers. They can request more amount.
Absolutely. So here, so I picked Rune Guardians, right? So now it says step two, set liquidity pool amount. So this is where I would decide exactly how much Bitcoin I'm putting into this pool. Correct.
Yes.
All right. Now, people, I am a starving content creator. You all know my wallet address now if you want to change that. But I don't have any Bitcoin to put in a lending pool, at least not enough that anyone would want. I could get anything from these people. So we're just going to go through the steps here. So I really can't put much, but maybe it'll let me put something. No, not let me put anything. But there you go. So you'd set your liquidity pool amount, your APR. Now, this is something you can change, you said. So if
Yes.
there's a whole bunch of people with, Runestone lending pools out there, if I put the best rate, I'll move to the top of that list.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Then maximum loan duration, maximum loan amount, and that's it. Then you just hit create, sign a transaction, and wait for a notification. I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly. And so the question now could be, where is this Bitcoin going? Like
Right.
when you sign the transaction, where does it go? Well, it goes on a wallet that has as rule that you, the creator of the pool, can decide how to spend it. This is
Got
the only rule. So FluidTokens as protocol has no control over the liquidity there. However, in this way, we can track our TVL and the flow of the loans. However, that address is not different than one of the different addresses that you have, for instance, on Unisat, that you have many addresses
right.
possible. It's the same concept. We create an address dedicated for you where you can handle your Bitcoin, However, we attach some data that says what's the collection, what's the duration, and so on, so we can easily track this. Why this? Because in this way, you can use your wallet without issues. You can spend your Bitcoin inside your wallet. You can purchase ordinals, and your liquidity provided is going to be untouched. Because
Excellent.
if we did, yes,
And this is something that anyone can verify, right? You can look and see what's going on in this wallet, and Fluid Token can never has control over any of this, right? You guys are just kind of the what's the word I'm looking for? The masterminds behind all this, right? But everyone is in control of their own funds, their own assets, right? That's key here because I notice you keep pointing it out and is very important, right? Fluid tokens cannot just, even if they wanted to, which they don't, right? But even if they wanted to, they cannot make off with anyone's assets or anyone's funds. They are just the custodians here
exactly.
of everything. All right,
Yeah,
great.
indeed. Since our code is open and you can check it in our paper, you starting by your address, you can calculate what is going to be the address of your liquidity pools. And in this way, when you create a liquidity pool here, you can verify that that's actually the real address where the liquidity is going. And in this way, you are able to verify by yourself without trusting us. And in the same way, feel safe because if you know that your Bitcoin is going to an address where only you have control, you feel way safer.
Right, of course. It's just as safe as sitting in your wallet at home, right? It's your wallet. I guess one thing I would ask that a lot of people I heard it, I don't know if anyone's asked it out loud, but I've heard this from a couple people and I set them straight, but I'd like you to do it yourself with these fees that are coming in from fluid tokens on Bitcoin, right? People are saying, well, where's this going? Is there going to be a token? Is there going to be an FLDT on Bitcoin, everything else? But this is all being funneled back to the parent company, pretty much Fluid Tokens, right? Which remains on Cardano, which supports the token that's on Cardano. So all of this actually strengthens, uh, the Cardano ecosystem and the Bitcoin ecosystem at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Because on the Bitcoin side, we are providing technology that previously it was not available. So we are bringing a new concept of lending and a new concept of building DeFi protocols. On the Cardano side, instead, we are able to offer rewards for stakers, for our holders, that is not just ADA or our token, because now we can offer part of the Bitcoin that are earned in the protocol. And this is really interesting because sometimes DeFi protocols offer only their own tokens, and it creates a loop of inflationary system because holders are getting the token, they are selling the token, and the price action on this is going to have a bad action on the token itself.
Right.
And
Excellent.
regarding the token instead, we are studying very, very well Runes protocol because, as I said before, it's the closest one to have to Cardano native tokens, and we would like for sure to allow our users to trade their FLDT on Cardano and on Bitcoin in a smooth way.
That would be amazing. Well, I just can't wait to see where else it goes. Because to be honest, the last time I spoke with Fluid Tokens wasn't that long ago, right? It was a month, maybe less. And none of this had happened yet. And I was like, oh, this is great. They've built so much. Can't wait to see what the future brings. And I always say that. But seriously, the future brought some pretty crazy stuff pretty quick,
Yes.
Raul. So I can't wait to see what you come up with in the next 3 weeks, because I've never seen anyone build this fast and this well, right? Anyone could slap a website together. But something like this and the amount of time that you guys have done it, and it's open source, and it's secure and it's safe, and people don't have to believe they can trust it because they can look for themselves and see that this is truly a permissionless lending protocol on Bitcoin. Did you ever come up with a name? I remember there was a post where you said, "Hey, we're looking for a name for this protocol. What does everyone think?" I think I put the complicity protocol because there were two people, but then I'm like, "Oh, complicit, that might be a negative thought." But what do you think?
Yeah. In the end, the name is Bitweave. Bitweave is the new way to achieve smart contracts behaviors on Bitcoin.
There you go, Bitweave, and that actually is a very good name. It definitely makes you picture in your mind what's actually happening with
Yeah,
those
exactly.
transactions. Um, All right, my friend. Well, this was great. Everyone, you need to keep your eyes on Fluid Tokens, either on Bitcoin or on Cardano, uh, because these guys aren't stopping anytime soon. And I can't wait to see what this looks like once Runes drops at the halving, and we can see. I mean, this platform 100% is going to go insane because, as far as I know, it's not only the first; it's the only one out there. And there's a lot of people that are going to have spend a lot of money on a lot of tokens that they're probably going to say, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have spent all that money on all those tokens," but they don't want to sell them, right? And where do they go?
Exactly.
Right here. All right, perfect. So let me ask you, for anyone that's just hearing about fluid tokens, right? Even if they've heard of you on Cardano, but they didn't know about this lending platform on Bitcoin, or maybe they're on Bitcoin and they just didn't even know this was here. It wasn't possible, whatever else. What would you tell those people? Just to kind of put them at ease and fully onboard them to everything that you're building over at Fluid Tokens.
Sure. So FluidTokens actually solves a big issue. So we are actually the ones that help you once you selling your assets is not a possibility. When you don't want to sell your assets, you come to FluidTokens. FluidTokens is a DeFi ecosystem that allows you to unlock liquidity from your tokens, your NFTs, without having to sell them. On Cardano, we created the very and only renting system, for instance, of NFTs, and we allow holders to get liquidity without having to sell them and without having to use them as the collateral because they are actually renting them out. On Bitcoin, we are just getting started with the lending protocol, but we have already in our mind some new services that are going to be really innovative on the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Absolutely. My favorite part of that, very well said, but my favorite part was you're just getting started. I just can't wait to see what the future holds. And thank you again so much, Raul, for coming and hanging out. And everybody, I forgot to mention it. If you go to the WenMint Discord, there's a 2000 Venom token giveaway in there that I put up, and I totally forgot to mention it. It's in the Discord. I posted it. But if you want, go to discord.gg/WenMint and feel free to enter every episode, do a giveaway. So there you go. All right. So what do you think? Did I do all right?
Yeah, you did all right.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Well, Raul, thank you again so much. Anytime you want to come back, I'd love to chat with you again once Runes is on here and everything else, because I'm going to have a big old bag of, I think, dog is what that
Wow.
runestone token is going to be. So we can play around with a whole bunch of stuff uh, on here. So thank you again. And I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Let's do it then. And thanks again to you for this opportunity. And let's talk soon about all the future developments on FluidTokens.
Absolutely. And I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. And
Exactly.
everybody, don't forget, later this week, I'm going to have XRD domains on the show. They're from Radix. We're also going to have an XR Degens weekly update space on Friday, and the Sorry Not Sorry Twitter space with my good friend and compatriot, CMDR, on Thursday at 7:15 Eastern. That's PM, not in the morning. We don't get up that early. So come hang out, swing by. It'll be a good time. Until then, stay safe, stay strong. I'll talk to you soon.